Okay, I see a couple highs. Okay, so yeah, so we just want to, oh, okay. I have a couple people that I think I need to still mute, and then we're going to start. Oh, let's see here. See, this is all the thing that I'm like, the technology of it all is all good, but I think we're all set to go. So I'm going to try to share screen here in a little bit as well, presentation. And again, if anybody would like the presentation or a recording of today's webinar, please let me know at Mindful Health. We'll be talking all about the brain, and it's going to be really fun that we're going to be talking about a lot of brain research, and I'm going to be going over 15 brain boosting foods, and also a lot of just nutrition and lifestyle tips. We're going to be going over some tips. So the next hour is going to be jam-packed. So I ask you all, if you have a notebook next to you, or if you can be in a spot that is free of interruptions, this is something that is very important that can help you to heal your brain, to help emotional issues and other things within your brain to help prevention. So just a quick little bit about me and why I am here and not listening at this moment. So I used to eat just a regular standard American diet for most of my life. And it's just amazing that I didn't really think that much about what I was eating and how it affected my body. And then in June of 2012, I was in a serious bicycle accident, and everything healed on me except for I was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury with a severe concussion. And it was a very odd thing. And I know there's a lot of people on the line today that also have traumatic brain injuries, which I will reference as TBI. But I had a lot of anxiety, depression. My emotions were all over the place. I had level 10 headaches every day. I had a hard time with sleep, and it affected everything in my life. And so I was not able to go back to work. And I was working a big-time job in downtown Minneapolis, and was really, I identified with my job because I did it for over 25 years and was successful at it. So it was a really hard thing for me to try to figure out what's going on with me, because I looked fine on the outside, but I did not feel the same on the inside. And okay, I'm just trying to mute everybody again here. Okay, so so anyway, after 2 years of going through therapies, physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational, lots of different kinds of medication, I finally started to seek out holistic means, which means by changing my lifestyle and adding in more brain boosting foods to my diet. And I was doing a little bit here or there, but I wasn't really serious about it. And then I noticed right away when I started to make smoothies with superfoods, I thought, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. My headache would be less. And when I would change my lifestyle to add yoga, to add meditation, to really look at the stressful things in my life, it really made a big difference. So I came to this realization in my life, this huge aha moment, that why doesn't everybody know this? Why didn't I know this? That food changes everything in our body. And we have that ability to choose what we put in our body. We have that choice of how to live our life if we want to have stressful situations around us, or if we want to be around more peaceful people, around peaceful situations, and really give ourselves the nutrients that it needs so we can be successful. So I decided to go back to school, and I thought, oh my goodness, here I am with a brain injury. My degree, my original degree is in psychology and business, and I decided to go back to school at the Institute of Integrated Nutrition, and it was a year-long course, which was basically like medical school, and it was tough, but I loved every minute of it. And so I learned more about how can I continue to heal myself, to the point that I graduated and decided to start my own business. So now I have a private practice called Mindful Health, where I coach people one-on-one. Every single person I work with is completely different. And I also do group coaching. I do wellness education in corporations, and I also run 5-day real food detoxes to help people with elimination diet, and for them to see what it feels like to actually eat with high nutrient food and have your body really supported. So we're just going to get right on into it, but I just wanted to give my quick story here because this is about the brain and this is my most passionate subject. I have about 15 different workshops, but really when we don't have good brain health, it's just not a good life. The quality of life is not always there. And so it is our most important organ, and it's good for us to think about it now. The way when we eat brain healthy, we're also eating healthy for our hearts and to prevent cancer. So it's just a win-win all around. Okay, so I'm going to try to screen share. Let's see how this is going to go. And you guys can let me know if you can see where it says, I think it is working. Okay, so we're going to start the workshop here. So like I said, we're going to be going over a lot of the research and a lot of different tips. And then at the end, we're going to have some time to do some question and answers. So if you have some questions, you can put them in the chat room or just think about them, and then we'll have some time at the end. And we also have on the line a friend of mine, Dr. Scott Hoppy, and he is a doctor of chiropractic, and he specializes in brain health as well. So I wanted to bring him on so we can answer questions together depending on both of our strengths. So, and this webinar is really good for anyone. So if your memory is maybe just not as good as what it used to be, maybe you have some emotional issues with depression or anxiety, maybe you are suffering from a traumatic brain injury or a brain illness, or maybe you're looking to get prevention. It's very important. I think it's smart to try to eat to prevent illness and in different things, because why wait? I don't want anyone to have to wait for an accident like I did and have to suffer. I would love for you all just to take this ownership of what you put into your body right now, and so you can help prevent, and if something does happen, then you can start to heal. So just some quick brain facts here. Oh, let me go back one. So basically, if you want to have a healthy brain and stay sharp at any age, what I'm going to talk about is exactly what you need to have. We can grow new brain cells as an adult. So it's really exciting that the new research that is out there is telling us that this is a myth, that our brain cells stop growing. We can now see that the neurons, like basically the brain cells, we can put out new branches and it makes new connections no matter what your age. So memory loss and cognitive decline is not this automatic fate in our lives. It depends on our lifestyle, and it depends on what we put in our body and what we don't put in our body. So we can control right now in our lives, no matter what our age is, whether you are 16 or you're 85, you can control, you can help by turning on or off the certain cells that are in your body to have more of the healing cells coming through. So basically, the memory center, the hippocampus, it's very adaptable, and it's capable of growing these new cells. And it happens throughout our entire lifetime. So we just have to have the lifestyle that supports it, and then we would be supporting that. So research states the brain can age backwards, which is also, I think, extremely exciting. I think a lot of people probably on the call here probably know somebody who has Alzheimer's disease, and it's not a disease anybody would absolutely not choose to have. And there's no cure on the horizon, and it's expected to triple in the next 35 years. So at age 85, we have about a 50% chance of getting Alzheimer's. With no cure on the horizon, the best thing that we can do is to feed our body and to have our lifestyle support so we can prevent this. And I think of it as like if you had a 50% chance that you knew a train was going to hit you, and you knew this wasn't going to happen for a few years, but you could do these things and the side effects would be better energy, great skin, a good waistline, better clarity. Would you want to do that? Would you want to take action so you don't have that fate? I think it's a great bet. You know, we want to invest in ourselves. A lot of times people say to me, oh, it's so expensive to eat healthy. And I just think, well, have you has anybody priced out cancer? Has anybody priced out anything? Because I know, I mean, just not being able to work with a brain injury, it was a costly thing to not be able to work, and also onto my emotions. So it's not an expensive thing to eat healthy and to create the lifestyle that you want. Harvard actually did a study, and they said, okay, really, what does it cost? What does it cost to eat more healthy? And it came down to $1.45 a day. And I think most people, even if you're on a tight budget, you can find somewhere that extra $1.45 a day, knowing that you're going to save money in the long run on doctor visits, you're going to save money on co-pays, on prescriptions, but also when your brain is working at full speed, you're going to get those promotions, you're going to have more creativity. So it's just a win-win overall. Let's see, we're going to get right to it here. So number one tip. So I'm going to have these 10 lifestyle tips, but I'm going to spend most of my time right here on number one, because I feel like this is where there is so much contradictory information out there, and wanted to share with you what has worked for me. So in the end, all of our cells need nutrients to grow. And I just think about how for so many years, I never thought about that. I would just eat this processed food, not even thinking about that this food is giving me energy, and this food is helping me or it's hurting me. So every time I eat now, this is the question I ask, and I would invite you all to try this. Is this going to help me heal? Is this going to help me feel better, more emotionally stable? Or is this going to hurt me? Is this going to prevent me from healing? Is this going to make me more emotional? Is this going to make me have more pain in my head? So I try to eat 80 to 90% healthy, and then I give 10 to 20% for other things. So last night for Valentine's night, my daughters and I made a gluten-free, dairy-free cake, and it was delicious, and it had sugar in it. I don't do that all the time. And for the frosting, they knew we're not going to use artificial food dyes, and so we did it with beet juice, and it was really fun to do together. And it's okay to indulge every now and then, but we need to have in our diet the nutrients to support where we are in our life first. So we're going to go through my top 15 foods here. And before I do, I did just want to relay a quick study. This was a traumatic brain injury study that when I read it, it really impacted me. And I think for those of you out listening to this call that also have a TBI, I hope it resonates with you as well. The researchers had two different groups of rats, and one group, they gave them a healthy diet with water. Oh, well, I should start. They all gave them a brain injury first. They hit them over the head, and I know it's really hard to say and hear, but they did. One group, they had the healthy food and water, and the other group, they gave them a fructose diet, which is sugar. So, which sugar is inflammation, and it increases, it actually feeds disease. So after, I think, was it 3 weeks? Yes, at the end of 3 weeks, the rats that are on the fructose diet were confused, and they had decreased cognitive abilities. At the end of those 3 weeks, the group that had the healthy food and the water were back to base level. And when I read that, I thought, oh my goodness, would I have healed faster if I would have been putting the food that I needed in my body? I'm almost positive I would have, because I was doing the exact opposite of what I was supposed to be eating. I was eating an absolute high trans fat and a lot of processed food in my diet. So, and we also need to power our brain with fat. So I think a lot of people know 60% of our solid brain is fat. And so it's critical for us to have a healthy mind. The government stated earlier actually it was end of 2016, that when they were promoting this low-fat diet, I think people that maybe are around my age, also in their 40s, a lot of us grew up in this era of eating low fat. But what happened is that to eat low fat, they took away the good fats and they added in all the sugar. So the government finally admitted, like, it was a 700-page document, what the people of America are eating right now with the low fat, high sugar, high carb diets is not in their best interest of their health. So now we're trying to go back. So if you ever see low fat, make sure you read the ingredients because it's probably spiked with sugar. Any kind of claims on a product, I always look at the label to see what's going on. But we need to have the healthy fats in our diet. And I'm going to show you in my top 15 foods, some of those foods that you can put into your diet. So we also need to eat the foods high in antioxidants, and I'll be giving you some more examples like blueberries and kale and broccoli, different things like that. And then, like I said, having those foods high in those omega-3s, those good essential fatty acids. And because they're essential because we need food to make them. So we need to add this to our diet to feed the brain. We also need to reduce consumption of certain products. And one that was really hard for me was caffeine. I was drinking 2 Diet Cokes a day or more. And when I first read about aspartame and caffeine, I just couldn't believe I was doing this to my own body. I was hurting it with that. But caffeine, it's a stimulant, as you all know, but it binds to the receptors in the brain, and it causes that inflammation and fatigue. So if you are waking up and you feel like you need caffeine, we need to add in more foods to help with the energy. We do not need to have caffeine every day. And to reduce the consumption of alcohol, again, moderation is all good, but it's a depressant, so it slows down the function of the nervous system. And usually it's a high intake of sugar as well. So it can lead to anxiety and depression. And then reduce the consumption of processed foods. Most of the time they're void of nutrition, and they're full of chemicals and refined sugars. And they really are just empty calories. When I coach my clients, and in my own life too, I don't even really talk about calories, because I think about, we want to just eat the right kinds of food. And if we focus on eating real food that is high in nutrients, we're just going to automatically lose the weight. We're just going to automatically get that extra energy in our life. So we're not going to be restricted about what I'm going to eat, because 100 calories of an Oreo and 100 calories of almonds completely digest in your body and absorb differently. So the Oreos is not going to help you at all, where the almonds are going to support you, especially for brain health. All right, so here we go, our top 15 foods. All right, I'm going to go through these quickly because I hope to be done so we have time for questions at the end. But avocados, I think a lot of people probably aren't surprised that this is on my list. Yeah, who doesn't love like guacamole, right? So it's good to have about 1/2 of an avocado in your diet every day. It's a great source of antioxidants, and it's packed with that good kind of fat that I just talked about, keeping the blood sugar steady. It improves our cognitive function, especially in memory and in concentration. So think about adding avocados whenever you would use like butter or mayonnaise, so you can spread it on toast. I love to just buy like pico de gallo or fresh salsa, add it with some chopped avocado, and then just use it with like some red peppers or carrots as a dip. That's kind of one of my go-to snacks. I also love to make chocolate mousse and chocolate pudding with avocados. So there are so many things you can do. It, add it to your eggs, whatever, on your burgers. There's so many things that you can add it to. Second, blueberries, again, probably no surprise. Blueberries are just has a crazy amount of antioxidants to boost the brain function. And when we are thinking about helping the brain, we always want to think about what can we do to reduce the inflammation in our bodies. And so my focus has always been brain boosting and reduce the inflammation to help me heal. And they just, is a great food to reduce that inflammation, and it can protect the brain from aging, and it can prevent diseases such as cancer and dementia. So it's recommended, if you can, to eat 1 cup a day. And I like to have my blueberries in a smoothie each morning. So I usually put a cup in those, or else I'll just snack on them. They're really good frozen or regular. Blueberries are one of the foods that I highly recommend to buy organic. And it's really easy to find organic blueberries, especially in the freezer section, because they do, when they are conventionally grown with pesticides, they really do there's a lot of pesticides in them. And if you're interested in learning more about the Dirty Dozen Clean 15, which is the 12 dirtiest produce, so the ones that have the most pesticides in them, I have a list on my website. It's Mindful Health with Lori, LORI.com. And if you go under the tab of resources, you can go down. The Environmental Working Group puts it out every year, but if you just buy those 12 items of produce organically, you will save 80% of pesticides in your body. And I think, I don't know if there's many billionaires on the call here today, I doubt it, that we're all trying to be on a budget. So just thinking about, okay, well, if I just am going to spend a little bit more, which foods really make the difference that you should buy organically, and which foods are okay to buy conventionally. I always think of, too, if it has a hard shell, like an avocado or a cantaloupe or a pineapple, the harder the shell, the harder it is for the pesticides to get in. And okay, let's move on. The dark chocolate, that's a fun one. I love it. I just had to say, not all chocolate is created equal, though. So really looking at the label, when I eat dark chocolate, it's at 85%, but anything at 70% or higher. So we don't want to have the milk chocolate in our diet. We want to have the good dark chocolate. I also like to buy cacao, put that in my smoothies. I've just had a really great detox hot chocolate. So it really is great to lower your blood pressure and improve the blood flow to the brain and to the heart. So, I recommend eating chocolate every day. How's that sound? And let's see, nuts and seeds. So sometimes, we all feel a little nutty, right? And that's all good. Okay, let me just see my notes here. And I eat nuts every day, and it's recommended to have about 1 ounce a day, which is what you could fit in your hand, or like a mint tin. It's about 23 nuts. For my own personal diet, I eat more than that because I feel like, for me, when I listen to my body, I feel like I need a little bit more of that good fat. And I would rather have less pain in my brain than to lose an extra 5 pounds. So it's when I coach people also, I look at the individual, and sometimes it's more about weight loss, but most likely it's usually about healing and feeling good in your body. And so we always want to alter to see what's good for you, because no two people can eat the exact same way. We're all unique individuals. But just try to think about having, that almond butter or cashew butter. Whenever you buy that, make sure there is no added sugar. My favorite nuts are walnuts and almonds and cashews. Cashews are the happy nut. So if I'm ever feeling down or overwhelmed, I just grab some cashews. I love making soups with cashews, and I have some recipes on my website, also under resources, where you can use a lot of different nuts. And my go-to snack also is just raw almond butter with an organic apple, and it's a great place to go. Okay, so spirulina. This one might be new to some people. It's kind of an odd thing. It's algae. It's this superfood that grows in fresh water, and it is incredibly high in protein, and it is like this great source of antioxidants, B vitamins, and other nutrients. So it's actually one of the most potent nutrient sources available. And I first learned about spirulina from a Facebook support group for post-concussion syndrome. And so the reason why I'm doing today's workshop for free is because I wanted to give back to my people and to say, there is some other people that help me and have guided me to heal. And I want to make sure that I can help guide people too. Even though we're all different and different things are going to work, we tend to try to start with the foods that work for other people and then go from there and see how it goes. So spirulina is not good tasting. I'm just going to be frank with you about that. But I put it in my smoothies every day. And so just start out really small and see how it goes. I buy it in bulk, so I just keep it in my jars, put it in. But yeah, it's great for protein and it really feeds the brain. I also take a spirulina supplement, and I just buy those at Trader Joe's. So you can see what works best for you. All right, the next, and then let's see, the next one, wild Alaskan salmon. So we should have about 4 ounces of salmon a week, or fish. It's packed with these great omega-3 fatty acids to help our brain keep running smoothly. We just, brain fog is huge for a lot of people, and we just need to pack it with these great omega-3s to improve the memory and to increase the brain clarity. But you can eat, there's many other fishes you could also have, like halibut or herring, trout, sardines, fresh tuna. One thing that is important is that it's wild. The farmed salmon isn't eating the spirulina, the stuff that's on top of the water. So we want to make sure that it's a good source of salmon. And I usually just buy frozen salmon, and then I can just quickly thaw something out, and it's a great healthy dinner. I never used to like salmon, but then when I learned about how healthy it was, I'm like, okay, I'm going to find some recipes. So I now have really found some great recipes for that. Dark green leafy vegetables. Oh my goodness, they are so good for all of us for many different reasons. But think about the real green, like kale, Swiss chard, spinach. It really helps keep dementia at bay. What the new research is saying. So I really try to put this in my smoothies again every morning. And also I do have a smoothie recipe that I created that is just for brain health and anti-inflammatory that I eat. And if anybody is interested, I would be happy to email that to you. So my email address is mindfulhealthwithlori, Lori, @yahoo.com. Again, mindfulhealthwithlori@yahoo.com. And like I said, I do have some recipes on my website under the resources that are also brain healthy, so check those out as well. But experiment with the dark leafy greens. I tend to just buy whatever's on sale. So I just had mustard greens, and I also love making stir fries. That's one of my go-to quick lunches. And so it's just full of the nutrient-dense food. So a lot of those foods are like the next one here on the list, broccoli. All of these vegetables like Brussels sprouts and cauliflower, these are just loaded with antioxidants, and they're naturally detoxifying, so it helps get rid of all these possible harmful compounds that keep our memory sharp. And my favorite way to eat those is roasting them. So taking coconut oil and just mixing it with the cut up vegetables like broccoli, cauliflowers. You can even make kale chips, anything that you have on hand, sweet potatoes, and roast them in the oven. And they are just so good. I feel like I eat sometimes them. Like I'll make a big batch, think it's gonna last me for 2 days, and I eat it all right away, which it's okay. You can eat vegetables as much as really you like. The next one on the list is eggs. I think a lot of people thought, eggs were like on the naughty list for many years. And now we're finally seeing that these egg yolks are finally getting their well-deserved day in the sun. Yolks produce the hormones related to happiness. So yeah, that's right. Eggs make you happy. I said it. It's one of those most perfect foods. And I think for so many years we were hearing, don't eat the egg yolk. And I used to, when I took clients out all the time, I was always ordering my egg white omelet and thinking I was being healthy. But anyway, so just go ahead. Egg scrambles are one of the best things to make with some scrambled eggs and get lots of this good vegetables, add in the dark leafy greens. That would be a wonderful meal for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Coconut oil. It's one of my favorites. I use it every day. I have one in my bathroom. I have one in the kitchen. It's versatile and it's so good for you. It's a natural anti-inflammatory and can help with memory loss as we age. And it also destroys that bad bacteria that hangs out in our gut. But there is like over 77 different uses for coconut oil. But I would highly suggest, especially like when you're roasting those vegetables, try to use coconut oil. I like to swish in my mouth with coconut oil. I add coconut oil to my smoothies. So just trying to think about all the different ways you can use coconut oil. And just to reference back to like my detox hot chocolate I just made, I make that with the full fat canned coconut milk. So just trying to get those good fats into your day, whether it's coconut oil, water, or milk, they're all good for you. And that recipe is actually on my website too, that detox hot chocolate. So go to mindfulhealthwithlori.com and just look for resources and scroll down. It's towards the bottom. So extra virgin olive oil. So yeah, this oil provides this healthy dose of fats that fight inflammation, improves learning and memory, and it reverses changes related to age and disease. So this is a great one to, after maybe you made some vegetables or anything, just to drizzle some on. The best thing for salad dressings are olive oil and vinegar. And I do have a list on my website of recipes for healthy salad dressings, and almost all of them have olive oil in them. So you can make it something that's really tasty. But when you buy a lot of the dressings at the stores have a lot of added sugar and other things in it. And it's really good just to make, one kind of dressing, keep it in your fridge for the week, and then you have it all the time. So the next one here is rosemary oil, and I'll just show you what it looks like here. So you can even just have rosemary around, or you can just smell it, but it protects the brain against these chemical-free radicals. And these are linked to the neurodegeneration, where Alzheimer's, strokes are, the normal aging in the brain. And just to say essential oils have really made a huge difference in my life. Frankincense I take every day, and then I make like little roller balls. Like this is my favorite: frankincense, lavender, and peppermint. It's something I forgot to do, but I usually do. I take a peppermint beadlet before I'm going to do like a workshop. My kids take them before tests, and it just helps get your brain going. Right after my accident, it was the first time I used essential oils because I couldn't sleep. And so I just used lavender, and I was like, oh my goodness, I could not believe the difference. So you can find essential oils at most of your co-op stores. I buy so many that I am a wholesaler for doTERRA. So if you would like any information on that, let me know, and I would help you out with that as well. All right, let's see. Next on the list is beans and chickpeas. And now you might be thinking, what? Beans are good for your brain? Yes, they are. So usually about 1/2 cup of beans every day can really stabilize your blood sugar, so your brain gets that steady supply of energy. And again, bioindividuality, some people, their bodies just don't tolerate beans as well, but just give it a try. I do have a recipe, I'm just thinking of it, on my website that says samples from the winter 2017 detox, and there is cauliflower chickpea curry that is so good. And so it's fun to get your protein sometimes from other sources, not just besides meat. So turmeric is one of my favorite foods. It is, you'll see it hanging out with its cousin ginger, so it's a root, and it helps boost antioxidant levels and keeps our immune system healthy, and it improves our brain's intake and keeps us alert and able to process information. Turmeric is the food equivalent to Advil. So for me, because I suffer from headaches, I have turmeric every single day. So I buy it in the root form, and then I also have it in the spice. So usually your co-op, you should be able to find turmeric. I know ours does, and also our local store Fresh Thyme does. And so you can grate it over your stir fries. If you're making a smoothie, just like a dime size. It's the ingredient that's in curcumin, which is something like curry. So it has that a great flavor, but in a smoothie, just start really small, see what you think. But I've had fun. I've created even some alcohol drinks. Ginger Marianne is what it's called. It's ginger and turmeric with a little vodka in it. And anyway, a little good and a little bad. It's all fun and good. Okay, the last one on the list is water. It is really easy to not consume enough water, which I'll just take a drink. So even just being a little bit dehydrated really makes a big difference in your brain. It decreases our mental energy and it can impair our memory. So thinking about your weight, so if you're about 140 pounds, it's recommended to get about half your body weight in ounces. So if you're 140 pounds, then you should try to aim for about 70 ounces of water. Again, it all depends. If you exercise more, increase it. If you're out in the hot weather, and trying to get most of that water in the first part of the day, because we don't want to be up at night going to the bathroom or anything like that. But and also right when you wake up, get that full glass of water right away. Our bodies detox as we sleep, and so we want to have enough water in it to flush all those toxins out. All right, like I said, we're going to spend most of the time on nutrition, but I think it's really important to see all the different foods and why you want to have that. So I'm just going to quickly run through these now. So number 2, a tip to just get moving. We want to know, movement is a major key in brain boosting process to occur. The Journal of Neurology actually just came out with a study that says physical activity can slow the brain aging by as much as 10 years. It improves attention, perception, motivation, memory, decision-making skills. It regulates the mood, provides mental clarity, promotes brain cell repair, and improved learning and focus. So one thing that's happening in today's world is that we tend to sit too long. And a lot of people in the health industry are coining the term that sitting is known as the new smoking, that we know it's not good for us to sit so long, but we're not all doing something about it. So just throughout your workday, doing some movements. I also teach yoga, so I'm doing some chair yoga, but just to try to get up every hour. And I have lots of different tips if you need help with that, of how to motivate yourself to get up. So just important to just keep moving throughout the day. We actually have a hormone that is released as we exercise that comes up to the brain. So it's just all around. We just need to move a little bit more. It doesn't really matter exactly what you do, just so you don't, so you're not as sedentary. Especially as we age, we tend to sit more. So just to make sure to get out. And even if you just go outside and take 10 breaths and come back in, it's great all around mind, spirit, and soul. All right, number 3, exercise your brain. So this is a great thing that we need to always be learning, and it's a great thing to just be a lifelong learner. So when I went back to school, I thought, oh, this is going to be even tougher for me. But what happened is that the more I studied, the more my brain was healing and the more I was learning faster. So it was just really exciting. So I was just thinking about the new things. So if you play cards and you're like, oh, I don't want to learn this new game, it's too hard, just go ahead, take your time, it's okay. But just try to think about what's the next thing on your list that you want to learn about. The less we use, basically, if we don't use our brain, it does deteriorate. So we have to always keep it going, keep the mind active. There is definitely studies that show the more educated somebody is, the less issues that they have with their brain. So just always to keep thinking about ways that you can learn new things with music, crossword puzzles, anything like that. All right, let's see. The next one is meditate daily. This is the hardest and the easiest one for me. It's something that helps me tremendously. I would highly recommend, if you're to do one thing today, think about trying to meditate. And meditation can be done anywhere. So sometimes if I'm at like Target waiting in line, I just close my eyes and I do some deep breathing. And yoga, I do it. This is something that where I struggle. I should do this more often because it does make me feel so much better and more centered. So there's many sources that you can do. I prefer guided meditation. You can just breathe, focus on your breath, be in the present moment. But your library would have some great resources if you want to listen to some guided meditations. Deepak Chopra has some great ones as well. So there's a lot of different things, but I mean, meditation literally changes your brain. It increases our well-being and our quality of life. And I know for me, I don't want to just add years onto my life. I want to add life into my years as well. So there's one study that I just quickly point out that it was two groups. One meditated, one did not. The group that meditated reported less stress, but they didn't change their environment. But they changed how their brain reacts to it. And they did MRI results and everything that even they just did it for 30 minutes for 8 weeks. And it's just amazing how when they looked at the brain, the gray matter was so much different just in that 8 weeks. So the neurons can talk to each other more when we meditate. So just try to focus on that meditation every day. And that's something anybody can do, no matter the disability. Number 5, reducing stress. So we try to avoid stress. I mean, we live in a world where sometimes people brag about how stressed and busy they are, and that's something we need to stop. And I was one of those. I was really busy, and I'm still busy. And I have to try to stay grounded and to say, okay, I need to meditate. I need to go for a walk. We need to have that self-care in our diet or in our day. A little stress is okay, but it's not good to get overwhelmed. It increases our immunity. All that cortisol, those hormones, where it goes is into our belly fat. And so I have some clients that they eat perfectly and they work out, and it's like, why are they not losing the weight? Well, they need to just reduce the stress. And so I would recommend then backing off some of the workouts, adding in more restorative yoga, adding in walks by yourself, because that's going to help reduce some stress. And actually, like 30% of the doctor visits today are related to stress. It's like the headaches, the stomach aches, the trouble sleeping. So much has to do with that. I actually have a workshop just all about stress. Okay, the next one. Just have an active social life. Smile, be with your friends, travel, do fun things. The best way to get healthy is actually find the healthiest person you know and hang around them. So just look around, because people are contagious, habits are contagious. So it's a great thing to just be around your friends and feel good. And for those of you that have traumatic brain injuries on here, this is a very difficult thing because I still have issues with sound and with fluorescent lights. And so I'm not going to parties or big groups as much, but what I find that I love is the small groups that I'll just be with, 1 or 2 friends, and it's actually a more intimate conversation, and I've grown the relationship with a lot more people through that. All right, so number 7, yes, sleep, because we all know, right? When we don't get enough sleep, our brains just are not firing as fast. Again, if you feel like you need caffeine in the morning, that means that you probably are sleep deprived. I also am challenged to try to get to sleep on time at night because I'm a night owl, but it really is important for all throughout the day, before we go to bed, we have to think about what we're feeding our bodies so we can have that good sleep. I also actually have a whole new workshop just on sleep as well. Number 8, okay, healthy weight. So one of my favorite doctors that I follow, Dr. Daniel Amen, he's with the Daniel Plan, one of his books, but he did a research study that there's a correlation. The higher your weight, the smaller your brain. And I just think that just scares the fat right off of anybody. So it's something that we need to think about. It is important, and he calls it the dinosaur syndrome, that our weight absolutely does affect it. And when I just started to eat real food, I had like 20 pounds that just came off, and I wasn't even trying, and it felt really good just to be at a healthy weight. All right, let's see. Tip number 9. So supplements, there's a few different things that I take, and if you would want to talk to your doctor about it, I would suggest maybe getting your vitamin D levels checked, especially for people like me. I live in Minnesota. If you live in a cold weather state, I take 5 to 7,000 IUs a day. And some of my professors at the Institute of Integrated Nutrition even said up to 10,000 for people who have brain injuries. So you really want to see how your body is and see how your blood levels check when you get that done. I also take fish oil every day because I don't eat enough fish in my diet. I would like to, but so I take fish oil. I also take a B complex. And then, like I said before, I take a spirulina capsule as well. But these are all some great things to talk about with your doctor. Just a warning, the FDA does not regulate supplements in the same way it regulates medicine. So a lot of these supplements can be sold without any research done to it. So it's just important for you to make sure that you're getting a high quality supplement and you're just not wasting your money. So, and then number 10, let's see. Oh yes, think positive. This has just been an amazing part of my life that I used to be known as being a very optimistic person, but after my brain injury, it's amazing how when I would get down, I call it going dark, where my depression would set in and I would get really anxious. And I just, it's not, if anybody else relates, it's not fun. It is just not a good time. And so, but every day I think positive. I think the words like, I choose to be happy. I choose to be happy because it's good for my health. I focus on gratitude. Every day I think about how grateful I am for everything in my life. And even if it wasn't a good day, I find something to be grateful for. So I challenge you all to maybe write down 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for every day. I say affirmations. So whatever I have a hard time in my life, I say affirmations. So like lately I've been saying, yes, I'm really great with technology because that was a challenge. But just thinking about, for me, I always think about, I let go and I try to let my worries out and I just let God lead the way. But, everybody else is going to be a different affirmation of where you're at. All right, and so here's the part of the workshop that if you would like to think about, the 10 tips that I talked about, or maybe those 15 foods, what is one of the tips that you think that you can put into your life? What is something that maybe is that low-hanging fruit? What's something that's easy? So is it adding more water into your diet? Is it making a smoothie? Is it meditating? Different things like that. So thinking about what is one thing that you can do, and I invite you to write it down. I invite you to put this in the chat. The more we can tell other people, the more we are accountable to ourselves. So I would love to hear what you think that you can do to help. And now we're going to do some question and answering. I'm going to also see if I can pull up Dr. Scott Hoppy's picture. He's the doctor of chiropractic, and he's the owner of the Integrative Chiropractic and Performance here in Apple Valley. So I'm just going to see how I can do this real quick. And please ask your questions. You can add them into the chat room here. And see. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure, Scott, Dr. Scott, if I am able to screen share your picture. Can you?
I see you.
Okay, can unmute yourself? Okay, that's awesome. Yes. Okay, and let's see if I can see you yet. And I'm just going to go down, scroll down. So if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, let's see. Somebody asked, are spring mix salads and coleslaw considered good leafy greens? Yeah, basically anything that is a real food, I would say go for it. But typically the greener the leaf, the better. So if you're looking at the store and it's a spring mix, or if it's like the power greens, I would go for the power greens. But again, you know, you want to have something that is that's something that you like to have as well. Cauliflower is not so green. Oh yeah, but you know what? It's a very anti-inflammatory. So we want to still have the cauliflower in our diet. Oh, so she asked about how do you ingest rosemary oil? So I literally just smell it, and so I just take it, do that, and I put it in my diffuser. Sometimes I will have just fresh rosemary around, and I will just go from there. And yeah, and you don't need much. I also have like rosemary like in a roller ball that you can make. So you can I just roll it on, and I can smell it from there. Let's see. Dr. Scott, can you see the questions as well here?
Yeah, I'm waiting for some more to pop up.
Okay. Do you want to, Dr. Scott, just tell us a little bit about your background and what you've done with people for brain health?
Sure, yeah. So my background, obviously chiropractic. I had several hundred hours in clinical nutrition and functional neurology rehab. So functional neurologist really means of assessing the brain from your eyes, how you're walking, your reflexes, and just like you mentioned early on, that our brain changes. And so we want to make sure we're having positive neuroplasticity in those changes, because we can have negative things and how our brain degenerates. We want to make sure we're doing positive things, and all these food things are positive things. So also doing things for rehab and exercise and chiropractic care and nutrition are making positive impacts on your brain. So I use obviously functional neurology rehab, physical rehab, chiropractic, and clinical nutrition in my office to kind of dial in what each patient needs to help them move forward, particularly for like post-concussive patients. A lot of those high nutrient-dense foods that Lori already talked about are kind of key indicators that I use, as well as kind of targeted supplements that she kind of mentioned already, from fish oil, turmeric. So I use kind of a high dose turmeric, whether it's 500 milligrams to 1,000, because it's immune neutral to your brain, as well as high anti-inflammatory. As she mentioned, it's kind of like your natural version of Advil. Trying to get everyone to move towards, because Advil and ibuprofen are not very good on your digestive system. And then magnesium is huge for general health as well as post-concussive. One huge product that I've had good success with for magnesium is OptiMagNeuro from Zymogen. Really love that. It's a particular type of magnesium that crosses the blood-brain barrier.
And thank you. Yeah, I take magnesium every night, so thank you for bringing that up to remind me. I love it.
Yeah, so magnesium is great. Like she mentioned, vitamin D as well, getting that checking your vitamin D levels, making sure it's high enough, and as well as taking between 5,000 and 10,000 to make sure, particularly during the winter time, make sure your levels are high enough, because it's also an immune modulator. It's not just a vitamin, think of it more of a hormone. As well as resveratrol is very good, which kind of a component that's in red wine. Don't drink the wine just for the resveratrol, but in other aspects and supplementation for resveratrol are very healthy as well. So all those polyphenols are very good. You're getting for your nuts and your seeds as well. And then she mentioned the fish oil. The main component of fish oil that you're looking for, especially after post-concussive, is the DHA portion. So when you're looking at fish oil, you want to have more of a higher DHA than an EPA. So the one that I use is from Apex Energetics. It's called Brain EDHA. It has like 1,300 milligrams of DHA and only like 80 of EPA. So having that higher ratio as well. And also things to support our master antioxidant, glutathione. So glutathione helps with detoxification, helps with brain health. A lot of times after concussion and even everyday things, we don't support that system in our liver detoxification. It's a two-way street in our brain and our gut health. And
Yes.
all the foods that Lori talked about are very important for our gut health as well.
Yeah, they're related, definitely.
So in regard to kind of assessing a concussion, and in the office, we're checking eyes, we're checking gait, we're checking reflexes, we're checking motor coordination, all those things, as well as blood pressure, lying down, seated, and standing, because some people with exertion or going from a seated standing position, their blood pressure may drop too high and their heart rate goes too high, and their brain isn't able to kind of diffuse blood to the appropriate areas at the appropriate times, and so they kind of fatigue and kind of drop out, and we're going to make sure those are stabilized. And as Lori also mentioned, she's kind of still dealing with sound sensitivity, so checking with all those sensories from light, vibration, and checking using like a pinwheel and vibration and light touch, and all those sensory systems to make sure they're coming in and working well together.
So Dr. Scott, I have somebody, Jolene is asking if you could repeat the omega recommendation, the DHA that you were talking about.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be like the exact product that I recommended, but using a higher ratio of DHA to EPA. So sometimes you can think of your DHA more brain-based and your EPA is like more of a whole body based. However, there does come to a point where your DHA is going to convert to EPA. So if you can get your DHA closer to maybe 1,000 and your EPA, 500 or so, a lot of your different fish oils are going to have different ratios. So don't just look at the total gram of fish oil. Look at the ratio of what's actually in the component. And if the bottle you're looking at doesn't have that, then maybe look at a different bottle. So look at a different quality supplement.
And with supplements, especially with the fish oil, I can absolutely tell a difference in my head if it's a good quality or not. So when I am trying different types of brands, I've switched around quite a bit to see, okay, what works for me, but that's at a good value. It's really important for you to listen to your body and to go, wow, I have more brain clarity and this really helps me, or, I'm wasting my money on this because I don't feel the improvement. So just always, make sure that you evaluate the label first before you buy it. So it is a good quality and not just a amount of fillers, and then you listen to your body. So Bernie is asking how much turmeric per day. And Bernie, this I would just say I would start small. If you do it in a smoothie, just like a dime size, but you can definitely have more than that. But it's just amount of taste. But it's one of the most highest anti-inflammatory foods out there. So it's a great thing to have into your diet every day. And Dr. Scott, you talked about the turmeric, and some people call it turmeric supplement. What would you guide for that? Do you have any points?
The amount?
Yep.
Usually a single dose is usually around 500 milligrams. Sometimes I'll do like a loading dose of it depends on what someone can tolerate with their digestive system. If they can take, let's say maybe if one capsule is 500, maybe they'll take one capsule 3 times a day, or maybe we can take more than that. It depends on what kind of, give them a guideline, and we'll have to modify it if they have any reaction to it and kind of go from there. And another product I utilize, you mentioned ginger. It has multiple
they go
herbs
nice
in it.
together.
Yep. So it has ginger, boswellia, as well as turmeric in it together. So kind of those synergistic effect of all those herbs working together is also a good thing.
Yep. And also if you make a stir fry, turmeric and pepper go really well together. So it's kind of like that 1 + 1 = 5. They absorb even better when you put them together. And and I wish, if we had, 2 hours if you ever wanted to talk that long. I mean, between Dr. Scott and I, there's so many more foods that we could have added and supplements to the list, but these are just like the top ones. So I asked, somebody was asking for the question about where do you purchase spirulina. So there's a couple different options. So you can find it a lot of times with the superfoods, like by the goji berries and different things like that, and they're already in a bag and it just says spirulina. I found that the most cost-effective way to buy it is in bulk. And so at my co-op, it has it in bulk, and also at in the Midwest, we have the grocery store Fresh Time. And so I literally usually just fill up a whole jar, and it's probably a jar about this size is probably about $15, and I just use about a tablespoon a day, so it lasts a pretty long time. But I would check to see the cost. But if you're going to start off with it, just start small and see how you can tolerate the taste, and start small in portions as well, and then move on up as you go from there. All right, let's see. And yeah, what's great is that a lot of the stores today, even like Aldi and Costco and Sam's Club, that they're kind of jumping on this bandwagon that people want to eat healthy. So you're going to be able to find things in big quantities like chia seeds and different kinds of nuts and seeds, and to have some of the healthier foods you can buy more in bulk, or at that bulk section, just start really small and just buy a little bit of the chia seeds or whatever it is, so you can see how your body reacts and see what you think. So we're coming up, we're just a little after 3 o'clock here Central Time. So if anybody has one last question, otherwise I want to respect everyone's time here. Oh, my chat is like frozen right now. Dr. Scott, do you see, is there any other questions? Oh, I see here, can you share the post-concussion syndrome website on Facebook? If you would like to email me, I can send you the link, because there are a couple of them. But if you go under Facebook and search post-concussion syndrome, you should be able to find some of them. But yeah, I would be more than happy to share that with you, because I'm not very active now on it, but it really was something that when I first went through it and I felt alone, and that it was hard for people to understand what I was going through, it was great to hear other people say about their troubles going to a restaurant and everyday life. So, so yeah, but my email is mindfulhealthwithlori, Lori, @yahoo.com. You can also contact me from my website. It's mindfulhealthwithlori.com, and there's a contact me page as well. Let's see, is that it? Dr. Scott, do you see anything else? Yeah, it's freezing up again for me. Hey, it wasn't too many issues here.
One other herb that is really powerful for anti-inflammatory is Ganoderma, the Chinese mushroom. So
okay.
it's very powerful for kind of fighting inflammation and doing good stuff with the brain health as well. So other kind of superfood to throw in there.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you. And I'm trying to cancel your spotlight, but I'm not sure why it's not working. So sorry about that, Dr. Scott. But I just wanted to say to everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. That I hope you feel grateful to yourself that you took this step to be in better health, to take the steps to eat something that's more nutrient dense, to think about how you can change your lifestyle, and really focus on that one thing that you want to change in your life today. Because when we just start small, all these little small steps equal one big lifestyle change. And that's what I work with my clients. It's about slow change that's going to last over a lifetime. So if you have any questions, or if you would like to talk to me more about anything else that I do, I would be more than happy to do that. Again, you can email me or catch me on my website at mindfulhealthwithlori.com. And Dr. Scott, can you just give me your website address real quick? If anybody wants to look at that.
Yeah, so my website address is integrative chiro, CHIRO, performance.com. You can type it in if you like.
Okay. That sounds great. And I will take mine in here too. And like I said, I am going to have a recording here. So if you would like to have the recording to listen again, please email me. I'd be happy to share that with you. But anyway, but thank you so much. I hope that you had some type of aha moment, something that sparked you that you want to change in your life. So just keep me posted, check in, let me know how you're doing. And I just wish everyone a happy and healthy day. So thank you and have a wonderful day. Okay, so my computer is still freezing up, so I'm not even sure how to press stop.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, everybody. I'm just going to sit here while it's still going. All right, I'm trying to press stop, everybody. See, at least the glitch happened at the end, so that's okay. Oh, everyone's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I love all that. Oh, that's so nice. People from Turkey and all these other places. Fridley, Minnesota. Okay. I'll just keep saying thank you while I'm trying to like. So I'm not even having like the option to turn the recording off right now. That's the crazy part of this. It's like my computer like has frozen. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask because I'm here. I'm just going to keep pressing stop record. But feel free to leave the the meeting while I try to figure this out. See, I need to work on my affirmation more often. I am good with technical issues. I am good with technical issues. So I'm getting to know Zoom, and I've noticed there's always one thing wrong. There's always something that happens, and just trying to figure it out. And just see if I can go out. Yeah, I keep clicking and nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Have a great day, everybody. Oh, okay. What am I going to do here? Is this going to keep recording? It's a sign I need to get a better computer, probably. If anybody is on still that has IT, it's just like I click and then it's just the round. It just says it's thinking. I'm glad it's happening now and not during this freeze up, or maybe it was freezing.